Tales from the Casino Pit, a podcast where we share stories with people from the casino industry. Now, here's your cast: John, Mike, Danielle, Michelle, Pippa, and Jay.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tales from the Casino Pit podcast. My name is Jay. You can see me at Casino Dealer Jay. Go ahead and check out my social media. And it's so good to see you on this Wednesday, everybody. My co-hosts today, first and foremost, you've been holding the fort.
Yeah, I was going to say there's more than two of us today. That's exciting. Hello, everyone. Oh, Michelle. I'm Michelle.
Okay, that's it.
That's all I have.
Welcome back. We also have...
Yeah. How's it going, everybody? I've been away on vacation for the last couple of weeks, so I was probably drinking unhealthy and eating unhealthy and doing anything I was supposed to not do. But I'm really actually looking forward to kind of coming on here again tonight. So it's been a while. So.
Awesome. Nice to see you again, John. And of course, look who's come back.
Hi, everybody. It's Mike. I have not been on vacation, but I've also been doing unhealthy things. So I'm glad to be back.
Awesome. Well, we have a fantastic four today. Pippa couldn't make it. Danielle is probably doing some stuff, but we'll get her back at some point. And we have a hello already from Daryl.
Yay.
Daryl, hi.
Yay! Life alert, Daryl.
All right. Before we start, I know, John, you have a story. So did you want to kind of let us know what's going on?
So this is one of the, it happened on my vacation. So I don't know if you can see this, but okay. So my daughter changed the background on my phone and it's got a barcode. See the barcode? So one day I had when she did it, I had quite a few drinks and I didn't have my glasses on and I spent far too long tapping the barcode thinking it was a new app. I was like, what the hell? What have you? Because then I was like, what have you put on my phone? It won't. So I was getting mad. I was like, what have you? Start opening it. I was just like, and they're laughing at me, going like, oh my god, can he be any more stupid? Like, literally, I'm tapping my phone, the picture. The app doesn't open. What is this app? No, so yeah. So that was.
It's like the 2022 version of changing someone's ringtone or something.
Well, yeah, exactly. I was like, what the hell? And do you know funny? And thing is, this was like probably 2.5 weeks ago, and I still don't know how to change it. I've now just come to accept it. I'm like, it's bananas.
That's amazing.
All right. For everybody watching, we are streaming on 3 platforms. We're streaming over Facebook. Hello, everybody on Facebook. The Casino Industry Canada group. Well, hello, everybody there. Thank you for joining that group. I have an announcement right after this. And of course, my beloved Casino Dealer J YouTube channel. Hello, everybody. Hello, all the new subscribers. Nice to see you. I really need to start putting some stuff on. It's been the podcast. That's all that we've been showing. I think for like the last 2 months, I really need to add some stuff on there. And I promise you, I will get you some stuff. New stuff. All right. Daryl says, so I am back looking for a part-time spot. Any thoughts? One casino didn't want him. Well, you don't know about that.
Argyle's loss.
Yeah, no kidding.
Have you tried Grand Villa? Might be a drive for you, actually, but I know they're in search of dealers, so I'll send you some info, Daryl.
What part of the city is he in?
I don't know.
North side, I think. I knew north side.
I thought north side, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, we'll have to look. That's actually a good idea to put on the Casino Industry Canada group. All of the postings and things. I think we'll get there at some point.
I have zero connections these days. Just so I can put that on record.
Zero connections, zero pull.
Sure. Sorry.
Daryl, you could be my roadie this month because I am DJing at Pure Casino Edmonton DJ nights in August.
Oh, cool.
So I am doing 4 of the 4 nights in the weekends there in August, which is really fun. Although there isn't really a lot of space there, but it's really cool to be up on the balcony and play some music. I did it last Friday. It was really cool. I told them to keep the screen on because I was having such a disaster of a time setting up for the first time, and it was just a mess. It was all cables and everything. But this weekend will be a little bit better. Promise. Well, here we go. Daryl says he is in Sherwood Park for a week or so now. There you go.
Okay.
We knew
Where
that.
is it after a week? Where is it after a week?
Yeah. Well,
No, I think he just moved new place, right? I think he's there now.
Oh, is he? Okay.
I think I know he sold his house, so I'm
Yeah,
thinking
that's
that's
right.
maybe where he lives now. But
awesome.
That's right. In
So
the park.
I don't know if anybody's watching this who can hire or have any influence. Daryl is amazing with clients. He is such a good person to have in your casino. So I'm not sure if that has any weight, but if I had a casino and I had any juice, I'd be hiring people like Daryl all the time.
There you go.
Well, yeah. For customer service and game knowledge, especially. I mean, I know Daryl and I love to bug each other all the time, but God, if it was me, I'd have him on in a heartbeat. So,
Well,
come
you
on,
know,
people.
there you go. And maybe there's a new casino, Daryl, that you can apply to. Ha ha ha.
Oh,
nice
Oh,
segue.
segue.
Yes, very good. So actually, you know what? Before we get into that, it's going to be probably a lot of talk about cameras. I understand, like with this casino, everything that's been happening, it's like a big deal. Let's just talk about how the summer was. I know we haven't been together. It's nice to see John and Mike and like 4 of us. It's just Michelle and I talking. We didn't really talk about Kdays because we had someone from Vegas. We had who else did we have? We had Jolie on, and she was talking about the refillery. I think that was right before Kdays. But how was did you guys go to Kdays? Did you go to Taste of Edmonton? John, I know you were gone.
Yeah, I was gone.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah, we went to Kdays on the last day, actually. It was expensive.
Yeah.
Okay. Kids had fun, so that's the main thing, right? The kids had fun. There was a lot of stuff. I think a lot more for the kids this year than I saw before, or maybe that the kids have just grown into it because it's been 3 years since we've had Kdays, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, expensive. I think you can attest to that. And we also did the monster truck jam at the stadium, so that was pretty cool, actually.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think you were the one sending some photos there of the it sounded loud. It was really, really crazy. I was thinking, oh, where's Gravedigger? Because that's the only one I know. Gravedigger and
Yep.
Bigfoot. They're usually there, right? So I'm assuming they were there. I don't know who won. You don't have to spoil it.
Okay? So I have never been to a monster truck rally before, and I would not have gone. Okay, if my daughter did not want to go, and we went with a large group of people, and everybody went. And I found myself actually cheering for people. It was really cool. It was something that I didn't think I would enjoy, and I ended up enjoying. So Gravedigger was there. Obviously, Bigfoot's been retired. The winner of the event was
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
sorry. Something soldier. I want to say armored soldier or something like that. Anyways, she was the first female to ever win. So that was pretty cool to be there for that, and it was really exciting actually. Like I mean, I was like, okay, I'm having a good time.
Did they have the quad races? I know like years ago when they had her in the old like Coliseum. I took my kids like 2 years in a row, and they had like the kind of like they have it in the intermission, like the quad races, and there's like a blue team and a red team. Were they there as
Yeah,
well?
they had quad races and they had dirt bikes on the second intermission. So they had quad races and dirt bikes. Um, I can't imagine it being in like the old Rexall place and everything. The fumes you would smell. I can't imagine that actually, honestly. But that's yeah, they had that, and it was really cool. Honestly, I'd go back.
Oh yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I don't know how often they have it. If they have it once a year, but for sure, I think that would be something really fun to kind of take the kids. I don't know if Colton is old enough yet, but I'm sure he likes trucks and
He'd
cars and
love
stuff.
it.
So cool. John, how was your vacation?
Oh, it was awesome. Well, I went away. I was gone for like, I don't know, a week and a half. We went to Kelowna, BC, whatever. But it's so much fun and just lots of cool stuff. I actually went into the casino there in Kelowna, and it was so different from the last time I was there. Like, it's now owned by different people, and it was different. Like, I'm not sure. It was like, it was super quiet too. I mean, I went in on like a Saturday night, and it's like me and my wife, and I was like, this should be busy. And we walked in, and it wasn't. Like, remarkably, it wasn't. It was like, oh, okay, what's this like? But yeah, it was. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's
But no,
interesting.
apart from that, it was a lot of fun. I love Kelowna. Kelowna's awesome, and then we stayed in Camor and Golden, and then we went out to the lake. So for like 2.5 weeks, I did lots of stuff.
Yeah, I thought that's a pretty decent length, that trip. I thought you were gone for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Awesome.
I had to sell one of my children to pay for it, but that's okay. We still have two.
You had enough. That's fine.
They're old
Exactly,
enough now.
yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, now there's more room in the back seat, to be honest. They were kind of growing up a bit. They were a bit bigger and they eat more. So it's like, let's just.
You had an extra boy, so it's fine.
Exactly, yeah. Just get rid of one of them now. You just avoid the disappointment. Just, there you go.
Oh, so funny. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say one thing? I did one thing in Kelowna, which I'd never done before in Kelowna. And so I was like, let's do something. Because we've been there so many times. Like, okay, let's do different things. So I was like, okay, like you Google, like, 10 best things to do in Kelowna. And it was like, go on a bike ride on this old railroad trail, like Maya Canyon, I think it's called. And I was like, it sounds fun. And I was like, 24 kilometers on a bicycle. Right? So I was like, that'll be a tough sell to my family. So I turned around to him and I said, hey, who wants to go? Yeah, tomorrow. And at the time in Kelowna, it was like 38, 39 degrees, like the hot. And it was like, whew, no one wants to do this. So I said, who wants to go on a bicycle ride over like rickety bridges? Like you see the old railroads with like those wooden bridges. And you're like, so who wants to do that? But 22 kilometers, everyone went, nope. Not a chance. Not a chance. I was like, come on, let's do it. It should be fun. So I was like, and I was like, okay. And my wife was smart. She said, okay, nobody wants to do it in the middle of the day because it takes like 3.5 hours, whatever. Right? Nobody. So like, okay, let's do it in the morning. So we got to get up early and we went out. It's like a 45-minute drive outside of Kelowna. But when we got there, it was amazing. It's dead flat because obviously that's where the old trains were, right? So. But you go over these 18 bridges and literally you're going over them and there's like a few planks, like 2x6s, whatever, across this thing. And then there's like, okay, and then it's like drop to your death. And I'm scared of heights. My son's scared of heights. So we kept taking turns to go, okay, you go first, but look at the back of my head. Don't look anywhere else. So we're like, and the thing is, it's like my wife and my daughter and my daughter's friend was there. And they're like, they don't care about heights. And they're like, Sophie, look at me. And it's like, back up. I mean, everyone else was like, just get across. Just to look ahead. Just okay. It'll be over soon. It'll be over soon. So we did that for like 11 kilometers one way. And we're like, okay, we have to go back now. Because it's not like a circle. You have to go back and do it again, which I was okay with it. Because by that point, I'm like, I'm not dead. It was probably okay to do it again. But my son was like miserable. And the first thing is like, this is the ridiculous thing. The first bridge you come to, you get there and it's like, because you're up in the mountains. The first bridge you come to, there's kind of like a track that goes around it, right? So I was like, look how nice they are. If you do want to go around the 18 bridges, you can ride around them. That was the only one. The first one. Every other one, you had to go across it. Terrified. And the thing is, you go across them and you go, oh my God, that one's worse. But it was fun. Yeah, it's a good.
I gotta tell you, John, the most impressive part of that story is that you convinced your family to go do that.
Yeah, and honestly, like when we came back, it was probably one of the highlights that we did it. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
that's awesome.
My oldest son was like, not really. But four, like 4 out of 5 of them were like, that was pretty good. So yeah.
Oh man,
Oh, sounds like fun.
that was definitely hilarious. Michelle, how about you? How was your summer so far?
Pretty good. I'm not a big summerer. Like my son's 23, right? So, and where I work, pretty much everyone has young children. So I just let them take the vacation time. I don't really take a lot of vacation time in the off school season. I'm more of an April, December vacationer. So I've just been enjoying the weather, spending time outside, golfing periodically. So it's been good.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that sounds fun. Absolutely sounds like fun. I'm jealous. I haven't gone golfing. Really tough to find some time just to get away from a baby, right? So
I started being okay playing 9 holes. It's like it just takes such a long time to golf, and as much as financially you get a better bang for your buck playing 18, I'm very content playing 9 holes, especially the time it takes. So
yeah, I'd love to do 3, but
I'll
One
pick
day.
you up.
You
We'll
have a new
go to
baby.
we'll go to Lewis and we'll just golf 9.
yeah, just skip every second one. Let's do the odd ones today. Yeah, that'll be fun. Just a quick message here. Hey guys, good to see you. That is from Jade. Hi Jade.
Hi, Jade.
Hi, Jade.
Hey, Jade.
Nice to have you on. All right. I just wanted to talk quickly about Kdays because I was just floored. I got like the family pack, which was like $40, and I thought that was good. There's only 3 of us. The baby was free, obviously. We ended up going in, and even just getting to the parking was just a pain in the butt because we were waiting in line, and it's like, oh, let's just go off here to the Husky. There's a gas station. We could just walk it. I'm sure it's cheaper. So I get in there, and the guy's like, yeah, can you jump off this ramp if you guys are leaving? Because he wanted to park a couple people behind us. I'm like, okay, sure, that's fine. We have a RAV. Okay. How much is it? $20. I'm like, oh, all right, fine. That sounds cheap. So I give him $20, and then we end up walking all the way over there. And then the main parking lot was $15.
Oh,
I was
no.
like, what? So I'm pushing this cart. I'm already sweating because it's hot. And I'm like, and then we have to we get in and the door's right there. And then you have to go to the back of the line. And if we just parked in the regular parking, we would have been right at the back of the line. So it was just a pain in the butt right off there. We picked the slowest line of the 3. Took forever to get in. Once we got in, I was thinking, like, how much is this going to be? Stuff was like between $8 and $15. And that's just food. And it was like the smallest portions that I've ever seen and for like Kdays. And I'm spending like $10. I remember looking at like the cotton candy, and for the large unicorn size cotton candy, it was $18. One bag of cotton candy was $18. So we're walking around. I'm flipping out. I'm like, oh man, do I have enough money for this? And it's just like my boy, it's my wife, myself, and a baby. I'm like, how bad can this really be? We end up going to the games, and I noticed that there were half of the games weren't even there. I could only win in rollerball. Or it's not rollerball. What's it called? Not rollerball. It's the one with skee ball. Yeah, no, not the one. Yeah, skee ball. So and it's a $2 game. So I'm like, oh, it's got to be around here. It's not there. Every game was $10. $10.
Wow.
I'd never seen it that expensive. Like it went from 5 to 10, and it's like I can't imagine. Losing games was the worst, right? So, anyways, have you ever seen this game? It's called Rail Runner. No?
Yep.
Okay.
And thank
I've
you.
seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, so they had this one. It's $10 for those 3 balls, and then you'd flip it up, and then you would try to get it into the middle there. So I saw a video of one of our members. His name was Will, and he took a video of himself doing it. I actually put it up here.
Doesn't move your big fat head.
He knows
Okay.
the trick.
There you go, right? You flip the thing up, and then once it goes over that little ridge, you kind of bring it straight forward. This was like the only chance I had to win other than the water gun games, right? So I was freaking out. I took the first ball, and before I went there, I just kept watching Will's video. I was like, okay, this is what you do. You got to do. And I was just doing this with my hands, like practicing in the air. And guess what? I did it.
Hey!
So yeah, we ended up doing this. It was really tough moving this bunny around with like a stroller because like his butt kind of got stuck on the wheel, so it looked like he had some skid marks when we were getting home because like it's so dirty. But yeah, so now that was the only go-to game that I had. So we had a really good time. I spent so much money on like not the games, which was really good, but just the food. I was so flipping crazy. I never thought it would be that much for Kdays.
Did you end up going to the pavilion, the expo center?
Yeah.
Okay, so we went there, and they had this Funko Pop booth like right at the front, and they had Funko Pops selling from anywhere between $60 and $1,200. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Wow.
Yeah.
A $1,200 Funko Pop.
I don't even know what a Funko Pop is. I'm like, I thought it was
you
food.
do. You do.
You'll see one. It's like a little miniature,
Google it.
big head and small body kind of thing.
Little
You'll see it.
caricature. They're like usually about that tall.
Oh, those. Okay, yeah.
And
yeah.
they all look like like cartoon children versions of who they
When
are.
you said big head and small body, I was like, you just described some people I work with. I think, yeah. Oh, you
Right.
basically just, yeah.
So, like, I mean, that was cool and everything. But my daughter wanted some, and I'm like, okay, no. Looking at Amazon, I'm like, okay, this is $20. I'm not paying $60 for it here, right? But her and her friend, they went up and they had this the dragon breath ice cream. Okay, so it's like cereal on top of ice cream dipped in nitro, I think. Anyways, we got there, and it's pretty cool. You take a bite and you breathe fire, right? Whatever. I get there's no prices on this thing, and I get there. They get their bowls and everything, and go to pay, and they're like, "Yeah, that's $32." Like, what? What? Like, oh, really? Okay, here you go. Like, wow, 2 little bowls of ice cream. $32.
That is insane.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is insane.
I cried. Dragon breath tears.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say something, but we'll just leave that comment to itself. Just a quick. Oh, I have a hi everyone. Oh, I wonder who that is. Oh, it's Tony.
Tony.
Hello,
Tony.
Hello, Mr. Tony.
Hey,
I guess
Tony, how's it going?
I guess you're here to kind of talk about the next topic. But before we do that, Mr. Tony has graciously donated some free stuff for our Casino Industry Canada get-together Saturday,
Awesome.
September 17th. We also got donations from Wyatt as well. So that Saturday, see if you are in the Edmonton area, try to get it off. The tickets are $40, but Mr. Tony has graciously provided a free $25 match play for every person that comes to this event.
That's
That buys a
amazing.
ticket.
You
Yeah.
can make money by attending this event, okay? So
That's
Yes.
awesome.
And I do believe he is also providing a free drink, if that's what we discussed. I can't remember. It's been a while since we kind of talked about this.
Oh,
A
So you
free
get
drink.
a match play and a free drink. You pretty much you get that back from that $40 to go in there.
Yeah, and you have dinner. We're having dinner
You
as well.
do. You're making
That is
money
true.
on the ticket.
Yeah,
This is awesome.
That's the point. So hopefully you guys can come. Wyatt gave us a wonderful donation, so that goes straight to prizes. I'm gonna do, I don't know, we'll say $25 gift certificates. So that's like, with the money that we have so far, we're over like 10 $25 gift cards for something. I don't know. We're like fans of Amazon, so there you go. And then that's even more money coming your way. And we have a couple more donations. I think we're getting a wine basket. I think we're getting something from one of the hockey card places. So that's going to be cool too. So come on down, get some tickets. There's a DJ at the end. We're going to have a chipping competition. We'll talk about that next week. It's going to be fun. I'll post some videos on the demonstration. We're going to try to raise money and see some old people. If you want to see
Not
some
old
old people.
people. Not
Old people. You see
Faces.
old
I
people.
say old faces.
You
I
want
didn't
to
say
some old people.
see old.
Yeah,
See,
like me.
although he's incognito, Tony says, ha ha ha, sure, to the drink tickets, right?
All right.
And no, and John, you are not the old one in this group, you may be, but
Yeah, but honestly, like I remember, like we've had like casino reunions before, like where you go and meet, and it's so much fun. Like I'm looking forward. Like it wasn't as organized as sometimes. It's like, okay, meet at this bar and we just drink. But this seems a lot like in all honesty, Jay, you've done all of this, and I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to meet. To be honest, some of the people like maybe I don't know, or it'd be kind of fun to meet new people, and some of the people that we've we've got to know over the years, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. That's going to be fun to kind of meet and greet a lot of the newer generation. It's also open. This first event is open to anybody. I mean, we just want people to have fun, so you don't have to be in the casino industry to join this. Although we do have a private link, so if you are watching this, I will give you the link. I'm not going to put it public because there's just a lot of crazies out there. So. Besides us. Yeah. All right. Okay. So we just hit the 27-minute mark. We did want to talk about the big news that's been happening here. Camrose. All right. So for those of you that don't know where Camrose is, some of you that aren't from the province, Camrose is about a 1 hour, 9-minute drive southeast, kind of in between Edmonton and Red Deer. Currently, they have this hotel and casino. Now, the news that's come across has been the proposal for a major relocation. This casino, remember, I'm going to be very, impartial about this. This casino will be moving potentially to this location, which is in South Edmonton. So it's in I like that number, 420 Parsons Road there, and that is by South Edmonton Common, and that's what that lot looks like. So there's a lot to talk about here. But first, initial thoughts from the group.
We have too many casinos already. Okay, that's what I think. It's not a bad location for a casino. Okay, I'll say that. It's not a bad location, but the market right now is saturated. Right, we're in Edmonton. We have 4 major casinos, one downtown that's just starting to reopen, and a couple other proxy casinos. I don't know what another one will do, but just kind of take away from the charity. We'll discuss that later, but
yeah, I don't know if you want to get into that part or wait, Jay, but that's obviously a significant part of the conversation do you want to wait to talk about that part?
Yeah, we will wait.
Okay.
I gotta. You know what? I love you guys, and I'm having a good time. I forgot I turned on my sprinkler like an hour and 20 minutes ago. So give me 5 minutes. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious if he's in his basement and it's flooded, and it's like, oh my god, why is there so much water everywhere? Oh yeah, the sprinkler is on.
That was the warning. Yeah. Why are my feet wet?
But yeah.
Oh my
Michelle,
god.
what are your thoughts on the
Yeah,
additional
without
casino?
diving into the other part of it, I agree with what Mike said. Like we've already talked about, like what was the last casino? Granville is different because it replaced Baccarat, but Century, I guess, would have been the last one.
Yeah.
I remember when Century got a license, everyone was like, that's way too many casinos. And at one point, like, we had the most per capita in, I don't know, there's a lot of casinos in Edmonton. So I get that, but I also don't know the numbers. I don't know the financials of casinos and whether it's sustainable. I don't have that information. So I couldn't say myself. I know that there's people saying that. So I'm sure there's some truth to that. I think that second part of the conversation is pretty significant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me get the overlay set up here. Actually, no. You're gonna have to give me 5 minutes here.
Okay.
How about you, John?
Okay, so while you're doing the overlay, here's my thought. What is, like, I'm just looking at it as a player perspective. What benefit is it for Edmonton casino players, or as an entertainment destination? Is this new place going to give that we don't already have? I mean, we've like Michelle mentioned, we have so many casinos here. I don't know if I can understand why they want to transfer, like financially, why they want to try and transfer from Camrose. I've been to the Camrose Casino. I've been there a few times, from Camrose to Edmonton. But I'm understanding, like, I just don't understand, like, from a player's perspective, what would they gain from going there that they don't have already in the casinos around Edmonton? Are we going to gain anything as a player? And as and do we lose too much for what we gain? I don't know. And I'm not sure if this is a
like, it's a good point. Like, it's not just like, if you consider, let's say, a Best Buy, right? Having Best Buys all over the place is convenient for customers because there's more locations to choose from. Casinos are different because while they're all really similar, they can choose to show a game or not show a game, or have lots of slots or not lots of slots. Like, so for me, even though I don't really frequent the casino a lot these days, I would, if it was back in the day, I would think about it a lot as a poker player. And as a poker player in Edmonton, a new casino is a terrible thing, because it's just another place that's going to split poker players into other places and not have, it's nice to have a lot of games going on, and then your games don't break and there's games going on all the time. Whereas if you split those pokers all over these other casinos, if they're all going to have poker, then one casino shuts down because there's not enough players to sustain that many casinos. And it seems to rotate, like, kind of Yellowhead always has poker, but the other ones seem to rotate closing and opening because there's just not enough players. So there's that detriment of, like, less, like, same with the craps game, right? To sustain a craps game, there's only so many craps players in the city, right? So yeah, I think there's a lot of that too.
Mm-hmm.
And to add to your points, Michelle, the actual, like, the amount of dealers at proficiency, there's not that. Now all of a sudden you build another major casino in Edmonton. Is there enough dealers are going to manage this play, or be there, or it's just diluting an existing pool of people who really, I know we've talked about this a lot, well, have a different perspective about being multi-game dealers and things like that, because you can pretty much guarantee that a lot of them from Camrose, I'm sure, are not really going to commute an hour, 2 hours a day to go to a job when they're paying, like, the wages that they get paid, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot of turnover if that move happens.
So, I missed the first part of the conversation. I'm assuming you're talking about dilution of the player pool, right? Like, I mean, we don't have enough punters to go around, as it is, actually, right? So adding another one dilutes it even further. But I think, from what I'm reading on the thing, is more concerning is the charity distribution, right? So the Camrose casino relocation would still be considered a rural casino, which means a different percentage of take, a different charity pool that it goes to, right? I know it's all Alberta and everything, but rural casinos go to rural charities in Edmonton, Calgary. Well, I guess they go everywhere, right? Maybe that's a little less important, but if you start getting a 65% table game share and a 20% slot share, that's an unfair advantage, right? You're in a busy location in the city of Edmonton, right? So you're giving an an unfair advantage to one casino over the others.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing with that is, I mean, Jay, you should jump in here. I'm sure you have some comments. St. Albert's a rural casino,
Yep.
right? St.
So
Albert is,
yep, St. Albert and River Cree to an extent,
well,
but they're
River
not
Creek's
in Edmonton.
different. They're their
It
own,
is.
but I know what you're saying. Yeah.
And St. Albert's not in Edmonton, right? Like I mean, it pretty much is. I know that. I get that, but it isn't in Edmonton.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, go ahead, John.
I think, sorry to interrupt, but I think as well that's, I remember like a long time ago, my son used to have, used to be in Taekwondo. It was in St. Albert. And one of their big concerns was like, well, they could only have casinos in the St. Albert casino, which generated, a lot less than the Edmonton casinos. But the challenge now is if this new casino comes in, they're only going to be like, I'm sure, the Calgary-based or rural, charities. So now all the other charities, literally, they would lose out because they can no longer, have a charitable event in this casino. So you think, what's that? 183 charities, right? And I just think that dynamics of it too, where Alberta's going through a tough time. All Canada's going through a tough time. There's less disposable income, so there's less money to go out and gamble. So adding another casino and diluting the charitable space which can go there, I just think the optics is bad. I'm not sure if Edmonton has any control on it. I mean, I guess the casino license has been approved, but to have this, to bring it in, affects a lot of people, right, and a lot of charities. And I personally don't think it's a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should do some of the comments, Jay. Maybe people.
Yes. Got the ticks. Yay.
Boom.
Sorry. Irrelevant to this conversation. No, I'll clarify some things here. I say impartial, like I'm being impartial. I know, I have my comments and everything. I've worked in a minor casino. I've worked in a major casino. I've managed both, and I did go to get some clips of the T's and C's, which is public, so anyone can go online and they can actually download the documentation, and you can see the actual split. So I'll explain that in a bit after these comments here. Daryl says, need this like a hole in the head, just milking the cow. River Cree was last, I think. Well, River Cree and Century did come out as the last two casinos. They were in
really
the same year.
They're
in the same year. Yeah, they both came out consecutively. So,
okay.
Yeah, it was really, I mean, they're basically a tie.
Essentially the same, yeah.
Yeah. Gerald says, I would rather see the racetrack put in tables. The Racino, nobody really talks too much about that with the location and everything. But yeah, there's another casino there that doesn't have table games. So it's kind of awkward to see a casino come in, right? And yeah, so much to say. All right. So this comment is coming from Christian. Hi, Christian. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for being on. Christian says, I think the split will be the same as the other Edmonton cast. It will be a major casino. The proposal is to increase it over the 15 tables. 15 tables is a minor casino.
Right.
Once it goes over that, then yes. And there is there's actually a side point here that states what happens when you go to 350 or more slot machines, which I'll bring up in a bit.
Can I get to that point? Yeah, I saw that in the news that they're planning on bringing it up to 25 casinos, but as the proposal now, unless it's changed, and I think this is public too, it is considered a rural casino still.
Yeah,
open.
Well, and there's where the confusion is, because if you look right now on the bottom, they want to propose it up to 550 slot machines and 25 table games. So that brings it well over the
That does make
the
it a major.
threshold. Yes, exactly.
So are you saying, just to clarify, are those terms interchangeable? Are you saying minor casino means rural? Or are they different designations?
No, the you determine based on how many tables you have. So like if I was in say Medicine Hat and I wanted to have 50 tables and I got the approval for it and I had more than 350 slot machines, then I could be classified as a major casino.
Right, but the rural
Yeah.
classification, isn't that has nothing to do with how many tables? Isn't that have to do with where the funds are distributed?
Okay. So, all right. All right. Hang on.
This is what I'm
Hang
It
trying
on.
gets
to
complicated.
clarify.
It gets complicated here.
Hang
Yeah.
on.
Well, that's
All
what I'm
right.
trying to clarify. Can you have a major
Yes.
casino that is a rural casino? They mean different things, do they not?
Yes, they do. Okay, so let's bring this for. Oh no, that's your tab. Okay, Michelle, you can talk about that one after. But in the casino facility and service agreement, like for a licensed charity, for Edmonton and Calgary, they've designated 50-50 basically. The only thing that was 75-25 was craps and poker at one point, right? So if you look at in 253, it says for Edmonton, Calgary, 50%. For St. Albert's, they get 65%, and it's always been like that. And then the other casinos outside of the area, initially there were 75-25, but then I believe it was Grand Prairie that pushed it to go over 350 because their net sales per terminal hour was amongst the highest in the province. So then they got a proposal, they got approved, and they went over 350 machines. So then that changed them to 65% of the proceeds. And then they got a higher share of the net table games. All right. And then for casinos outside, you can see it's 75% of the table game casino proceeds. The confusion here is, are they going to keep the 75%? Or if they do go to 550 slot machines, will they go to a 50-50? So this is so weird because now, like when we talk about a major relocation, there's there's supposed to be 3 steps. So initial assessment, community support, and then the licensing, right? They're in the community support state right now. And it's weird because the way that they have it set up now, there's been some amendments over the last few years where it's 21 days before you can say anything for the community support. So if I wanted to file a complaint or a rejection, it's today. Today is the deadline. And how many of us knew about this, say, last week, right?
No.
So, yeah, and I think that's where a lot of the concern came in because it was something that was, it's not a blind side, but it was something that came up really fast.
It's like
and
they
now,
were trying to get it through. Like,
yeah,
it seems like they're trying to get it through without people noticing.
Yeah.
and like even people who are not in the gaming industry will complain about like, hey, one, we didn't seem to have enough notice, and 2, we just live around where this location is going to be, and it's they should have some input about, well, this obviously would increase traffic because you've got this new thing there. Right now it's open field, so I think it just seems like it's being pushed through really, really quickly. Like maybe it's approved, we don't know, but I mean, like, I'm just thinking that the people in Edmonton didn't seem to have enough time to have a say in whether or not this is or not, is or is not a good idea.
Yeah, it sure sounds like there's some backdoor deals being made somewhere, right? Like, I mean, you don't want to say that, but it just this went through really fast, right?
I think from a devil's advocate standpoint, like I think some of the articles I read, they followed the correct process. Like you're supposed to put it in the newspaper, whatever the rules are for notifying the public, they did that. And I think some of the articles I read were talking about they should have done more, right? Like, you might have an AGM for something and you only have to post it in the newspaper, but you want people to actually come. So you email a notice, you know what I mean? Like, even though you don't have to.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's the same, but like, they're just saying the standard should have been higher. Whether that means they should be changing the process or I don't know, but I know
Yeah,
that's one of
no,
the complaints.
yeah, maybe they haven't done anything wrong or anything, but I mean, I just don't know how you push this through, right? And how it gets approval to this stage, right? When we're in an obviously oversaturated market, when we're in a recession, uh, there's a lot of things that seem kind of wonky about this to me, anyways.
Like, I'm curious, like, does Edmonton have any say about if they want to approve this or not? I mean, okay, yeah, the license could be AGLC can say, oh, yeah. But at some point, I'm sure Edmonton, like the council or whoever, that can turn around based on the concerns of whoever, the people in Edmonton go, you know what, we're just going to deny this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think at some point, people in Edmonton or Calgary or whatever should have a right to be able to say, like, yes or no, we want to have a casino in their, in their community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's just like, and especially now because how quickly it was like, oh look, we're going to do this. I mean, everyone's like, what? You have until this like 3-4 days to complain, and like, what? How did it get to stage 2? We didn't even know about stage 1. It was just
Yeah.
seems to be like it shot through fast, and we're like, oh, hang on a minute, we need, if because there's lots of people are going to be affected by this, right? Not just the ones who live there, financially, the dealers, like another casino, you're reducing the amount of your tips are going to go down. It's just, I don't know, financially, this is something, it's concerning for a lot of people, right? And, and businesses too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing that gets me. I'm just gonna put this post up. If you look on the right side when you say like applying for a casino license, so they did a market-based license. So it's a market-based licensing approach, and then they did an assessment, a recent assessment, and it states that AGLC's most recent market assessment indicated there are no opportunities for expansion currently. Expansion. So if I came to Edmonton, I said I want to add another casino. Well, there's no opportunity for expansion. However, what I'm seeing here, and this is my own personal opinion, is that you got a casino somewhere out in the boonies, and no offense to the I love every casino here in the province, and I can understand that. But if a casino is struggling, what is the AGLC going to do? They're not going to shut it down. They're trying to keep that license. And again, my only opinion is that they're just trying to save that license. They're going to move it over. Unfortunately, it's going to cannibalize some of the other charities. However, in the long run, they feel that it's going to benefit the province itself, which is confusing. It's confusing. A lot of people don't see it that way, but I don't know if that is the right thing to do, right? I mean, there's other ways of dealing with it, but to kind of to bring another casino from that belongs to another, I won't say city or a town, to bring it in and absorb it to try to save it, I don't know if that's the right way of dealing with it.
Yeah. One of the other things too, right? That's like we know today, it's really hard to get volunteers to go to a casino to work, and especially because the longer hours, they made it really like uncomfortable, and like hardly anybody can meet those hours. Nobody in Edmonton, I would have thought, is going to volunteer for the casino when their charity is not going to allow to be in there because they're all going to be rural charities, right? And then all of a sudden now, if you're in a rural charity and all of a sudden, yeah, can you volunteer for a charity in Edmonton? And we're going to do all these different things, but you're going to finish at like 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and now you have to drive home 2 hours or an hour and a half, whatever it's going to be, and then you have to go to work. I mean, it's you're just making a difficult problem harder by trying to get people who have their own lives and don't do their own things. I just think there's too many things that make this a problem or problematic that right now, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad spot for a casino at all.
No.
But yeah, if it was, and to Jay's point too, if it was some other, just a new casino going up, it would have been not approved, right? Like, I mean, it would have been
Yeah.
rejected. It would have been squashed. So I don't know exactly what the difference is. I know I get keeping the license and everything like that too, but if a license fails, it fails, right? Maybe we can split the funds differently with the AGLC and have some more go to the rural charities that Camrose promoted. But I don't see how this benefits Edmonton. I don't see how it benefits the area other than complete dilution.
In all honesty, if they can do this, like, I'm not just saying, I'm not trying to be like fear factor or whatever, but okay, so does that mean any casino that's being approved today can go, you know what, I don't want to be in Grand Prairie. I want to be in Calgary. I'm going to move there. Or I'm going to go to Edmonton. Because, I read a thing the other day that said, 80% of the population in 2040 is going to be between, the Edmonton-Calgary corridor. So
Yeah.
that's where they're going to be, right? So does that mean like there'll be no casinos outside of Edmonton and Calgary in that particular corridor, right?
Yeah.
So it just seems odd that if you can't have a
huge
new
precedence.
casino, but you're going to bring in casinos from somewhere else that, for whatever economic reasons, are not doing. I mean, it could be management reasons too, right? I mean, like it's not doing well because I'm not saying that it is, but I mean, if I was a manager, I'd be like, I make terrible decisions all the time. Does that give me the right to go, oh, well, I now want to go, I'm just going to put this downtown Edmonton or whatever in, or Calgary or whatever, I don't know. It just seems.
Who runs that casino? Is it like a person, or is it like a local company, or is it like a big, like a Gateway or a, do you guys know?
Oh, yeah, I have no idea actually.
Capital City. Hold on, let me look at the proposal because the proposal is also online.
Mm-hmm.
Capital City Casinos Limited. So that is
Probably that's the casino that they were. Sounds like that's just that casino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a.
no.
Okay. Well,
I mean, I know a lot of this is why I was like talking about rural so much, right? I get the major versus minor, but the rural thing, like a lot of these articles, and I volunteered for a lot of different sports groups, and there's numbers coming out like this is going to take just under 7 million away from Edmonton charities, right? And most of these gamblers are going to be from Edmonton. Like then you might have some Beaumont in there, or Leduc maybe, but there's going to be a lot of Edmonton. So it's the complaint is you're taking an Edmonton money and you're putting it in charities that aren't part of Edmonton. So there's been a lot of letters floating around and people trying to compel others to, and I'm not whatever I say, I'm not on one side or the other. Like I'm just trying to speak to kind of what's out there and what people are talking about. But there's been a few different letters where they really, really stress that AGLC has always said the money that goes into casinos is meant to serve the charities that where the money comes from. That's where the money should go to, right? And so these letters that are being written to AGLC are saying like, that's not what's happening. You're taking money from Edmonton charities and essentially giving it to rural charities. That's essentially what they feel is happening.
I think a lot of people are going to think it's kind of like a redistribution of wealth, right?
Yeah.
Like the casinos in Edmonton, and and Calgary, because of the size of the cities generate more money. So there's more money that gets redistributed to the kind of charities in this, the Edmonton area and Calgary area. And I'm not saying it is or not, but I mean, like people, especially if you're in a charity and all of a sudden, because your charity will lose. I remember it was like one time, we used to get like $80,000 approximately, whatever, for those 2 days. I mean, like when you drop it down to maybe it drops down to like $70,000 or $60,000. I mean, it's an impact to that charity that's in Edmonton. Like, they're not going to see the benefit, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
What if this discussion was moving it to Leduc? Does that change the conversation?
Yeah, I think it does.
I'm not saying that's what they should do. I'm just like,
No.
how close to Edmonton is it? Does that argument still get made?
Well, all right. So to that point, there used to be, it used to say in the casino terms and conditions that one casino should not, one rule was actually to not be in the same building envelope as another one, right? remember when we had the original ABS and not the original, just the second one, I guess, the second ABS, and then Baccarat Casino kind of opened up, and how close they were. They were walking distance between each other.
Yeah.
They put in some regulation to prevent something like that from happening. And the idea with it was that you didn't want to negatively affect the performance of a specific charity. Now, at this point, is it going to affect? Well, in a way, it is. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's because of the location, probably because there's casinos that are close, I guess, and maybe that's what the issue is as well. But overall, it's the fact that it's not going to be an Edmonton casino. Technically, it's in Edmonton, but it's not an Edmonton casino, which
Yeah.
is really weird.
Yeah.
And here's just something that I find like this thing about this right now. So, like I said earlier, my son was in like Taekwondo in St. Albert, which literally is about 150 meters from AGLC and maybe 200 meters from Edmonton's border. You know, like as you go into a sale. So
Right at the
they
tip
can't.
there, yeah.
Yeah. So they can't have a casino in Edmonton because they're a registered charity in St. Albert's, but a charity in, I don't know, hundreds of kilometers away can have one because now they're connected to that rural casino. How can you
Right.
justify that? I can't see how people would be happy about that.
Yeah. I think the primary focus has to be on, is there enough to warrant having the casino, like the building there?
Mm.
That has to be the primary thing, because like whether, St. Albert's right next to Edmonton and it's rural and blah, 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 blah. If there's enough people to sustain it, then that's not an issue, right?
Mhm.
So that has to be the primary thing. And like you guys said before, they would not be considering a new license. So to move a license here, like it's a bit hypocritical, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I say. And like I said, when you said, would it make a difference to move to Leduc? I think it would. Right, Leduc's far enough away that you
It
have
might
the
not be
Leduc
viable there,
population.
though. That's the only
Yeah,
problem.
you know what? It might not be.
He was
It
just
might not
throwing
be.
it, he was
And
just throwing it out there as an example.
no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying that a casino in Leduc would be profitable or anything, but it wouldn't be in Edmonton, and it wouldn't
Yeah.
be in a busy part of Edmonton. I think I saw a comment here, like the traffic around that area is just ridiculous. I had to drive that on Saturday, and that's like that. It's insane. So, I mean, if you do get some of that traffic, even some of that traffic to the casino, you're making a lot of money, right? Um, but it's going to be in Edmonton, and it's not an Edmonton casino. I think that's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I kind of want to keep going back to like Michelle's point because she makes a really valid point. If the city can't support another casino, a new casino, this is a new casino in the city area. How does
Yeah.
it make sense to bring in another
Yeah.
casino? It's like you just said. It's like if you think of it as like, okay, I'm all of a sudden I win the lottery and I'm like, Jay, open up this casino. I got a big chunk of change. Let's go and open one in Edmonton at that particular spot. They would be like, no, you're declined because this city can't support another casino. But somebody from a different province, not a different city, can go, I want to build it there, and go, okay, well, you can have that. That's fine. You can bring it in and you can build it. So how does that make sense for like me as a business person compared to that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And this is Tony, right?
Yeah, Tony says AGLC removed section 1.6 in T's and C's back in 2021. The principles of gaming they no longer matter. There's a lot. If you actually Google it and download the new terms and conditions, the updated version, there are so many deleted sections. And I can understand if they moved it to a different document, but there's a ton missing from what we remember as our T's and C's.
Okay,
I don't know if I remember T's and C's.
we'll have to read.
This is a very compressed version of what I remember.
Used to be.
Yes, absolutely. I didn't look at section 1011. I don't know if there's any rules of play that are there anymore. I believe they were removed to keep everything as a gray area. So the whole thing with gaming and rules and regulations is kind of loose, in my opinion. So
culpability doesn't fall on one entity, hey?
well, remember, Mike, it's for the overall benefit and integrity of charitable gaming. That was the biggest line that was always in the
Thank you.
document,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
Tony made a really good point earlier too. I know you threw it up there, but we didn't really go any deeper on it. Is like we already have a casino struggling in Edmonton. Now,
Mhm.
Yeah.
not to say it's unlikely that the gambler pool at those two casinos is going to have a ton of overlap, but at the same time, maybe that's the license that should be moving, not Camrose, right?
Yeah.
Like not outside Edmonton.
Yeah.
Well, it's a really good point from Tony there.
No, it is. It's a great point, actually. Or what stops Grand Villa? Grand Villa has got to be under 15 tables open right now and 300 slot machines. What stops them from applying for a rural casino license now? Right?
mm, mm.
They can
Can
go
they
to
apply?
Camrose.
Right? They go to Camels. No. Can they apply? Honestly,
I'm
'cause they're
joking.
not.
Okay, I'm derailing.
No. I get it. It is funny, but would that stop them from applying for a rural casino license if this new, let's say, Parsons Casino, Camrose Casino gets a rural designation? They say, hey, listen, we have 12 tables, 350 slot machines open. We're a rural casino.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Does it just throw a snowball into everything, right? I don't know. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how. Here's the problem. The problem is that, well, we're over an hour, but the problem is that we're talking about this a little too late. None of us really had enough time to process this or analyze it good enough. There's
True.
there's a lot of stuff we don't know about and why this is happening. Maybe one day we'll figure it out. Maybe we won't. Maybe it's just going to be undisclosed and stuff just happens. I think we've always gone through this. And somebody told me that it's like, oh, you remember when like Yellowhead first came out, and then you remember when River
Yeah.
Cree first came out, and then you remember when Century first came out, and like you remember when the Racinos started getting slot machines. Remember when that happened, and everyone was always saying something. This is something completely different. I've never seen anything like this happen to this city, where you have another casino not even in the city come to the city. So.
But
I will
then-
say, if you think about it from like that, let's say your Camrose or your kid plays sports in Camrose or rural Alberta, Edmonton, it's pretty good for charities in Edmonton, the money they get from those casinos. I don't know what charities are getting in a Camrose casino. Let's say it's half. I don't know what the number is. But you can make the argument that there should be some redistribution, right? Maybe those charities, there should be getting more, and maybe Edmonton gets a little bit less, so that they're getting that piece of the pie as well for their casino. I mean, there's that argument as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we could have another 2 hours on this, eh?
But
Go ahead, John.
to your point though, I think that then the whole model should be reviewed about like how do we redistribute charities to this, and then honestly, like at this day and age, and the challenge that we have is the volunteer model coming in every 2 days. Is that really needed? I mean, it could be like, all right, why not pool all of the charities and all of
the whole province,
and the whole province, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, all these things, you apply for the casino, and you get a share of whatever. Then it's redistributed because it's all based on the entire gaming thing. I just think right now, if you're going to do this, it's going to create further problems in the future, because more and more casinos that are not doing well, Grand Prairie, the smaller places, if you may set a precedent to be like, okay, well, I want to open one up in Edmonton. Why? Well, the casino's going to die, and then we could, so you're not localized. One, you're taking major employers out of Camrose. You saw that thing. I mean, it's a hotel, it's a conference center. That place is really busy, because right next door to it, when they have what's that big concert they have in Camrose every year? That place is really busy. It's right next door. Big Valley. That's right next door. You see hundreds and hundreds of of RVs and stuff like that. People can. There's thousands of people there. Well, now they're not going to go there because that thing's probably going to be turned into. I don't know what it's going to be turned into, but it won't be something else. I'm sure like this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of issues at play, a lot of things that might happen. So, and we're four people who, I think, I don't know. I don't know. I think the four of us are against it, but who knows? Maybe we're there opening night, opening up the craps table. Michelle's on stick.
It's easy to be against it from the
What's that?
perspective of, I said it's easy to be against it from the perspective of an Edmontonian, especially an Edmontonian who would have more benefit on the charity side than on the player side, right? As a player, hey, more casinos, more places. Other than like we talked about, it dilutes like harder to have poker games, harder to have craps games if they're split up too much. But yeah, I don't know. From a provincial standpoint, I could see it. I mean, I have an opinion, but it's definitely not a strong one. I'm definitely open-minded to both sides of the argument. So, I mean, John, I really like, John, your point about pooling the whole province. Let's say you're pooling the whole province. There's still the revenue side for the business owner, right? That doesn't fix that problem. It fixes the charity side. And then you're looking at it from where casinos are viable, right? Because all the charities are making the same, but you still have to consider the viability of the business, right? So,
and the thing is that, and like, it comes back to the point where, okay, as a business person, I invest X amount of dollars and I want to build this casino in this particular location. And if it fails, well, the government is just going to let me move it to somewhere else.
Right.
They don't do that for anything else. If that was just a hotel, that everybody, the casinos, if there was no casino involved, if it was just a hotel and a conference center, and it was like, oh, we're doing really bad because of whatever situation, they'd be like, oh, that's really sad. Okay, I hope you success.
You're out of business. Yeah.
Yeah. So many businesses have lost, and they're like, there shouldn't be a caveat because you've won this, Willy Wonka, golden ticket that, oh, if I fail, then I should be able to relocate and move my ticket and go somewhere else.
Yeah, like how much of it? I'm assuming there's at least a bit of a struggle there. Otherwise, they wouldn't want to move.
Mm-hmm.
Like how much of that struggle is because, and I don't know who manages. I know nothing about that casino. I'm not saying this is the case, but how much of it is because of how it's being run, and how much of it is because location, and how much of it is because the economy, and there's all these different things, right? So, I agree with you. It's like a bit when you talk about bailouts, right? And then there's no incentive to be better, right?
Mm-hmm. And so I agree with you there, and I agree with John's point earlier too about the model change. If this happens, like the whole Alberta model has to be looked at really in depth, right? Which maybe needs a little modernization.
But in all honesty, that may not be a bad thing, right?
No, I don't think so at all.
If the model is built like, hey, how do we support these charities? Well, all of a sudden, like, look how popular it's becoming. The casinos are like, okay, well, how can we make it simpler with less? I think I'm a big advocate for, like, we should review things. Something shouldn't always stay the same because things change over time. And how can we make this better? And okay, look at this and go, okay, well, why not put all this? If you want to be like a charitable, thing, why couldn't we redistribute the charities to all across the provinces? And no one would care. It wouldn't matter. But I just don't think, it just seems weird that one particular business who may not be doing so well is allowed to move someone else, and where me opening up a new business wouldn't be allowed. I just think it just seems odd.
I also think we should acknowledge that there's likely a lot of information that we don't know.
Oh, for sure.
There's so much stuff that we don't know. So, like, even if you have an opinion, it's not based on all the information, right? So,
no, of course, and there's tons of that, right? Like, I mean, we're debating off the information that we have, that we know,
of course,
right? Yeah. So, and that's all we can do. But I don't know. Like I said, it's not a bad place for a casino, honestly, in Edmonton. It's not a bad place.
Looking at it in isolation, it is a good spot. Other than the traffic complaint.
Oh,
because it is a busy road.
Yeah, it is. And
it's only going to get busier around there too, as that keeps developing on that south side.
Right.
Oh, new host.
Yeah, sorry. He's upstairs on his own and he was scratching on the door and barking. So I was like, I gotta go get him. He's 14, so he's a kind of an old cranky guy. So I had to go and grab him.
When you're
Nice.
a 14-year-old dog, you get whatever you want.
Yeah.
And now he's rolling over, showing me what he still has. I'm like, I don't want to see it.
Like, I'll give you 14 years old.
Exactly. I'll show you what I got at 14. It was like, okay, dog years, he's like 98, whatever. So he's
All right, Michelle, did you want to talk about the letter or?
I mean, you can throw it up if you want it. It's what I talked about earlier. I could just like say something quick. I don't know if this is just like the Edmonton Sport Council. It's just emails I get. It talks about local sports stuff. And so I get all the time. And they basically emailed all their members and said, we're sending this letter. We're basically informing everyone, encouraging other people to reach out. And the email address is in our chat there. If anyone's so inclined. I think it was Christian that said there's 2 hours or something left to you want to send an email. But then there was another, that's that one. And then I saw another one today from Edmonton Federation of Community Leagues. Similar wording, similar like taking from Edmonton population and putting the money in rural charities. And that was kind of their one of them used the word travesty, which I found interesting. I thought it was wow. I was like, oh, travesty. Okay. So it was interesting. Yeah. That's just their angle. They're very focused obviously on the charity side and the money going to the charities. So
Okay, one quick comment before we go. There is a lot of comments, sorry. We kind of let them go. 20,000 the most in Camrose. Is that the charity portion, Christian?
I think that's what he was talking about. That's a big difference.
Yeah. Tony says still got 2 hours to send an objection letter.
That's the wrong
yeah, inspections.
There you go.
And Christian says you guys don't consider the fact that the province gets 70% of the slots review. Barring the First Nations, yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
The province gets 70 big percentage points from the slots, and that's why they'll not let a private company fail. What are your comments on that?
Well, it's a good point. I mean, if you think about it just from the province, freaking put casinos everywhere.
Yeah.
Who cares? You know what I mean? They don't have to run them. They just get the revenue. They don't have to worry about anything else. Obviously that's not going to happen. But it's a good point.
Yeah, no, it is a good point, right? Like, I mean, they do get 70%, so they're not going to let millions of dollars walk out the door. But at the same time, it's.
But I think.
Yeah, you go, John. I feel like you're going to say what I was just thinking.
It might not be, but I mean, I'll just say it anyway. But I think they make 70% the lion's shares of the slot revenue, but that really shouldn't be the objective of the AGLC to look after their own interests. It should be like the entire process. Like, okay, we've all talked and we've all heard and lived there enough time to go. There's some negative impacts of having a casino in your community, and to negate that, they're like, we're going to give some of this revenue to charities in your community. And I think that's how the model was built. And if you bring this in, now you're going against the model that was being built for God knows how many years, right? So if you're going to change it, then review it all and go, okay, well, just review everything and make it better or more, equitable to all different charities all around. And the thing, if you want to have a voluntary component, make them do something else rather than go to a casino to volunteer. Maybe they do some other voluntary thing that doesn't require them to stay in the casino till 4 o'clock in the morning and drive 2 hours home, right? So, that was my point. Sorry, Michelle, I didn't mean to jump in.
No, that's okay. It's a really good point. What I was thinking was, by moving that casino, I don't think I actually think as a province, you're going to have less gaming revenue because you're bringing that into a center that has tons of gamblers that have already been created because of all the casinos we have. You're not going to create a bunch of new people going to the casino, maybe a little bit in Beaumont, but still like that casino's not that far. Casino Edmonton, it's not a whole new market. Whereas Camrose, I don't know how many, like what's near Camrose, but now those people aren't going to come to this casino. at least not as often as they were going to the one in Camrose. So overall, I think you're reducing the revenue. You might increase it for a while, new casino, exciting, whatever, people are going to go. But like in a long-term situation, you've just basically negated all of the people who were going to that Camrose casino and just redistributing Edmonton gamblers to another casino.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and like what you said earlier, Michelle, we don't know exactly why Camrose is failing. Is it the population? Is it how it's run? Or what's going on? But like, what is it? Is the table games failing? Like, do we just need to replace it with a whole bunch of VLTs in a slot house? Does that work? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, take out the table games and you're good. I don't know.
That's a helpful comment. Who's that, Christian?
Yeah, Christian says Camrose is dead except for the Big Valley Jamboree weekend.
Yeah, so like maybe it's just So that's tough then, because it's obviously not working well there. But I don't know if moving into Edmonton's the answer either.
Okay. Wow. Can we beat this horse anymore?
This is a good one
for next
though.
week.
Yeah, it's a good one. Next week we have Todd. I didn't make an overlay for him yet, but I'm very excited to have him. A very smart individual, excellent roulette dealer, one of the best I've ever seen. Good poker dealer as well.
Todd, we're talking about Todd C.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
Oh,
he's my cousin.
Oh, look.
Is he?
By marriage.
Yeah. So he'll be on next week, which is really cool. So hopefully all of you will.
I guess I better show up then if Todd's going to be.
Yeah, Michelle, I don't know how reliable you've been the last few weeks.
What message does it send if I don't show up?
All right, so some final shout outs. I will go counterclockwise this time.
Thanks everybody for listening to us to rant about casinos that may or may not pop up in Edmonton. So your comments are always welcome.
Mr. John.
Well, it's been awesome to be on here, and I'm introducing my old dog who's like, he just wants to get out. So there you go. He just wants to get out. But no, I've been on for a couple of weeks. I've been on for a few weeks, and it's, to be honest, I missed the like having a chat and a laugh with you guys. So and it's always a lot of fun, and I look forward to continuing doing it.
Awesome. Yeah, John, you missed the Vegas dealer, party pit dice dealer.
See,
I was waiting.
I'm starting to think you do this when I'm on vacation. And like, I got away and I'm like, I probably just do things I shouldn't do. And like, when it's recorded and live, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't start talking, when I'm on vacation. So I was like, it's probably safer if I just do stuff away. But talk about stupid stuff afterwards.
No, I promise you, John, I didn't do that on purpose. You missed the Vegas showgirl. You missed the Vegas go-go dancers / party pit dealer. I'm so sorry. That was just bad timing. I don't know how that happens. So
yeah, I'm seeing a pattern here, to be honest. It's like we got Vegas showgirl, Vegas casino girl. John comes on. There's like
Mike.
The next guest is Mike and Todd. I mean, I like Mike and Todd, but I'm pretty sure they're never going to be Vegas showgirls.
That's the only time they'll come on, though. It's kind of is that Welsh guy there? Okay,
stranger danger and stuff like that.
Oh my God! All right, Michelle.
It was a really good conversation tonight with you guys, and the comments from Daryl, Tony, Christian. It was so great having you guys. Those are three guys who are very involved in the industry, and it was a really good. So shout out to everyone. It was a good chat tonight.
Yeah, I agree. This was a good episode. I don't mind it. I really had to turn my brain on just to think about the whole model and everything, but shout out to all of you that are watching and joined in. I appreciated all the additional comments to all of us, and hopefully we won't be as confused, in the following weeks. Maybe we can get a little more clarity, because this kind of, to me, I just, it just felt like a really big surprise all of a sudden. So, yeah. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. And the people that I talk to in the city, Edmontonians are like, what? Another casino?
Yeah.
What? So yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh, one more comment before we okay. Before we go, good night, good show. Thank you very much. Thank you all for supporting. And I don't know where that comment's coming from, but all right.
I think that one was Christian. I think Russ and Christian both said great show. So thanks,
Awesome.
guys.
Yeah, thank you. And hopefully we will not go over the 1 hour and 20-minute mark next episode. Why do we always do that?
I think it was warranted today. I think it was a good day to do it.
It was. It was.
Yeah, good topic.
Yeah, you guys say that. Who's the one that edits it in the end? Jeez.
Wow.
Enjoy.
Yeah, thank you.
But in consideration, it's an hour and 20. And then when you edit out all the dopey stuff, we're like, okay, we have a 15-minute podcast from these guys.
You think we even get to 15?
Look, I'm punching up. I'm like, okay, yeah. Michelle just drags it up,
Michelle does it. Michelle
talking
does
about,
it.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
No,
God.
you're all great. We're all great.
All right, everyone. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Hey,
guys.
guys. Bye.
Oh, let me do the outro.
Oh.